but you're wrong. Listen, there's no magic bullet. I'm teaching life skills.
When you're sick, you need medicine. It don't always taste good, nah, but it'll get you better. You need this medicine. It ain't gonna always taste good, but this is what you need. Men and women, bottom line, we need to have the conversation. Your partner wants to give up control, but only if you know how to drive. This is about being the best you could ever be, whoever you are. I don't care if you're a man, a woman, LGBTQ, space aliens. I'll save anybody, I don't care. I'll teach a hedgehog how to have a threesome.
What do you mean by that?
Look, you don't have to listen to me, but you're wrong.
Listen, I know I'm great. And I know you're thinking, Dante, there's no way I could be like you. But you could be me, you know why?
Because you know who I was? Before I was me, I was you.
Man School 202. Better hear what I've got to say because you won't get it again.
I'm not an alpha male. I'm not a beta male either. I'm just a better man. Well, put your happiness first, because if you don't, they won't.
What up, y'all? GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD. What would Dante do? The sexual revolution's being podcasted. And I'm excited. Let's go. I'm trying to wait for everybody to get in. Let's see who's in the comments. Anybody in the comments? If you hear me loud and clear, please give me a thumbs up in the comments, please. Camille in the city, what's up? What's up? Yes. I'm back on the Sundays. We grind. Yo, Dante, does laying the bricks 5 bitch count if they don't say anything back? Give me a chance. Cuidado. No. I'm gonna talk about this, all of this stuff. I'm actually gonna cover this stuff in a few minutes. If y'all hear me, just give me a thumbs up in the comments, and we're gonna get started right away. People still coming in, so I don't want anybody to miss anything. We're not gonna do a long one, but I promise you that we'll get everything in. Thank you, Ghost Dog. What's going on, Austin Tucker? Thank you. I'm having so many discrepancies about laying the 5 bricks. I really want to cover that today. Gosh, I wish I knew how to put a title up on the screen, but I guess I'll figure that out. I will figure that out. With the deal, everybody's still coming in. Happy Sunday, happy whatever. I don't even care about what day it is. Let's go. Please like and subscribe, share. Do that. If you got somebody who needs the help, man, send them this link right now. Go on YouTube or go whatever and share it with them so they can jump on. To anybody that and we all got somebody who just won't listen. I don't know. My lights are freaking out. Sorry about that. But yeah, send it, like and subscribe and share and all that good stuff. Phone lines are up, 929-269-4922. Here's what I wanted to talk about today. I think there is a discrepancy about a lot of times what I'm talking about, especially when I talk about laying the 5 bricks. And let me put Cuidado Normal. Says, yo, Dante, does laying the 5 bricks count if they don't say anything back? Okay, let me explain to you. I'm gonna explain the first step of laying the 5 bricks, because I feel like I did a couple of consultations today, and I don't care how many times I say it, everybody always does their freestyle version, so I'm gonna explain it in between calls. And if you have any questions, the phone lines are up. You can call me and ask me whatever y'all need to ask me. I'm gonna try also and go live on TikTok, and we'll see, because I have a lot of people on TikTok that are saying that, you know, I'm not giving TikTok no love. So, not sure how this works, but I'm gonna give it a shot. I'm going on my phone until I figure out how to go live on the original system. So here's laying the 5 bricks. Fundamentally, what laying the 5 bricks is this: it's going out talking to 5 women a day. You're not talking to them. You're paying them a compliment. 5 to 5 women every day. 5 different women every single day. Understand? 5 women a day, every day, with the caveat of the fact that it's women that you don't know, okay? It's got to be women that you don't know. It will be some women that you're attracted to, some that you're not, some that you are indifferent about. But the compliment that you pay them has to be how should I put it? Non-sexual. Man, I'm sorry. I'm hot as hell. I got to turn on the AC. Give me a minute. Okay, so getting back, the big shout, Still I Rise in the building. Who else is in? Camille, Quidano Home, Camille in the city, Austin Tucker in the building. Shout out to Latif. Yeah. So anyway, laying the 5 bricks is the process by which. This is how you change your your whole perspective in terms of how you approach women and how things approach and how things become, how you learn how to get comfortable talking to women. And what I've done is created a situation where we break this down into a basic and fundamental thing, like a step by step, different phases. And understand this, the different phases are broken down so that you literally are, you're literally in a situation where it's almost foolproof. But in order for it to be foolproof, you got to do what I say, not some other version of what you think it is. And what you're going to do is you're going to pay a compliment to 5 women a day, every day, right? That compliment has to be non-sexual, right? A, has to be non-sexual. B, it has to be non-sexual. It has to be honest, truthful, and it has to be honest, truthful, and non-sexual to 5 different women a day. And what that ultimately does is a few things that come into play. Here's the other thing. You're not expecting to get a response. In fact, you are not supposed to get a response. In fact, you are forbidden to get a response, at least in the first stage. So it could be something as simple as, I like your shoes. I love your hair. I love your makeup. That's a beautiful sweater. I love that brooch. That's a really cool chain. I love your sneakers. That's a cool vintage t-shirt. Anything in that realm, and you're supposed to pay the compliment and keep it moving, okay? This is a super powerful method, and I'll tell you why it's a super powerful method. It's a super powerful method that gets your game up. And I shouldn't say game, because I'm not going to even speak in those terms anymore, because it's not game. I'm not teaching game. What I'm teaching is guys how to approach and how to be more social and be aware of how they're social and be aware how they approach. So I'm going to explain. I'm going to take this time to explain this. If anybody has any question or anything they want me to go off on or whatever, or some problems they got, you can hit me under the phone lines are up. The number is 929-269-4922. You know it's up on the screen. Anybody on TikTok that wants to call in and wants to hear from TikTok, go to YouTube and go to either The Dante Nero or Man School 202. I'm also on Instagram and Facebook. But if you want to call in and you see the live broadcast and can actually talk with me or whatever, or send comments in directly on the program, you can do that too. So here's the thing. It's 5 women a day, every day, non-sexual, right? 5 different women. All the women are not just women that you find attractive. It's older women, younger women, aunties, the janitor, the lady that cleans the bathroom, the lady that rings out your groceries, whatever it is, the chick at the library, the security guard, it doesn't matter. 5 compliments a day to strange women. The compliments have to be honest, number one. It has to be a different woman, women that you've never met before, right? And it has to be non-sexual. I don't want nobody to go out in the street and start paying comments and say, damn, you got some big ass titties. That's not what this is. In the context of us talking about ACE, I think that what we have to do as men in general, you have to have the ACE is authenticity, credibility, and empathy. And what is the empathy of this? The empathy is this, and I know there's women in the chat right now. I see women in the chat. Here's what you have to understand, men, that you probably never understood in the first place. Every single woman that has ever had a guy approach her has to consider whether or not he will unalive her. Every woman, hear what I'm saying, every woman that has ever given her phone number out, given you a number or gave you her Instagram, she has to screen you to see if you might unalive her. Do you understand that? That is not something that men in general have to deal with. No man goes out and says, man, I hope I don't get graped on this I hope I don't get graped on this date I'm getting ready to go on. If that was the case, there'd be men running around in Central Park with no pants on. You understand? So that's the first thing. That is the context of the whole thing. Please like and subscribe. Get the hearts up. Get to share this with somebody, because I'm dropping gems tonight. I'm not going to be on all night, but we are going to get this popping. So that is what the context is. Number one, what does this accomplish? The simple fact that you're approaching women who you've never talked to before is what you call, in psychology, it's called exposure therapy. What it means is that if you are not a social person, if you're an introvert, if you're somebody who doesn't who's not accustomed to talking, if you haven't had a lot of experience with women, are shy, any of those things come into play. This simple process will get you more comfortable and more fluid talking with women. Now, I'm not telling you to talk. The first stage is not about you hitting on them and trying to talk to them. It's just paying a compliment. Baby steps. What we're going to do is take baby steps, and those baby steps are in the context of how we're going to get you to the plan where you can actually that you actually are going to have to, you're going to get comfortable, and you remove the fear. You see, when you start to remove the fear, right, what ultimately happens is when you don't let emotion have a seat at the table, you then get to show what the true essence of what your personality is. You get to showcase who you really are. If you're afraid, you're going to come off like being a weirdo, okay? So and you're not looking for a response. You are just supposed to pass the compliment and move on. The compliment must be honest, but not sexual, okay? Let me go through here real quick. We got a bunch of comments in the chat. Let's see, loud and clear. Da, 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 da. What are many faces says, what are the benefits of speaking slower and shutting up? The fact is that when you're talking to somebody, you're trying to get to know her. Your intention, if your honest intentions are that you're trying to get to know her, you're trying to know what she likes and what she doesn't like, you speaking slower makes first of all, there's a not a body language, but there's a subtext to you speaking slower. When you speak slower, first of all, you don't make mistakes because you have time for your brain to catch up. Second of all, when you speak slower, what happens? It makes what you have to say as if it's more important and more intentful. All you got to, you don't believe me? Go Google what do you call it? Google a Barack Obama speech. Well, now I'm telling you, that's your guy. The fact that big shout out to Xavier. What's wrong with mine? Big Xavier, $10 from Xavier on the Cash App. Thank you so much, brother. You're always on point, Xavier. So that's what shutting up. You can't hear and you can't discern information if you're not shutting up to listen. Understand something. If you're going out on a date with a girl and you're not paying attention, you might miss something. I'll give you a fine scenario. Let's say the girl says, I have shellfish allergies, and you take her out on a date, but you never paid attention enough to know that she has shellfish allergies. And so now you plan the date and you take her to some place, a seafood place. Now you're at a place that she can't eat, or she has to scramble through the menu to find something to eat that you're already putting yourself at a disadvantage just because you didn't pay attention. If she's quiet, sometimes you get women that are on the spectrum. They don't like crowded places, or maybe not even that they're on the spectrum, but they don't have crowded places. And if they would like to go, they don't want to go to someplace loud. If you're not paying attention when you're talking, understand what you're trying to do. You are trying to get a dossier. You are trying to understand what she likes, what she doesn't like, and she gets, so that if you do ask her out on a date, if you do end up in a social situation with her, you can make the date the best possible situation. What you're ultimately trying to do is remove all the obstacles at hand that makes her go that you the guy that should be chosen. If you're not listening to these things, if you're not asking questions to kind of, because this is what a dossier, it's like a profile. I mean, I hate to put it like this, but it's like a serial killer profile. If you watch like crime stories or whatever, they'll go, oh, okay, the killer is a 40-year-old male, probably unemployed, lives with his mother, blah, blah, blah. You create a personality profile. Well, that's the same thing you want to do for a woman, and understand that this is not deceptive. In no shape or form is this deceptive, because why would you want to take somebody out on a date that they're not going to enjoy? You're trying to create a scenario where she's enjoying herself and you're enjoying yourself. Also, here's what we're not doing. I mean, and this comes later. What you realize is that every girl that you're going to take out that wants to go with you, you're going to realize that you may not want her. I know that's an odd and crazy kind of concept, that you could actually not want somebody, and I get that. When you don't have options, you think that any girl that you're dealing with is good enough. But they're not, just like you're not always good enough. All right, we got somebody on the line. Let me get this. Hello? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Hey, it's Jake from California.
What's up, Jake? How are you, brother?
What's going on, Dante?
It's good to hear your voice, man. What's going on? How can I help you?
Yeah, okay. So there's not really a question I have, but there's just something I want to get off my chest, right?
Sure.
So I was watching a few old episodes of Black Phillip, right?
Yeah.
And I've seen mostly all of your podcasts or your lives, right?
Okay.
And, you know, I've heard a few callers, including myself, come in and, like, we talk about the Black Phillip, and we always praise you and Patrice's work on the Black Phillip, right?
Yeah.
But there's, like, the really cool thing that I love about Man School and what you've done with it is that, unlike Black Phillip, is you actually kind of, like, lay out the rules of, like, approaching or cold approaching women in public. You know, like, your 5-brick system is a perfect representation of that, and
Right.
something that wasn't really touched on during the Black Phillip era.
Right. I appreciate it, man.
And the funny thing is so I'm 23 years old, right?
Oh,
and
man, that's
I discovered
fantastic.
the Black Phillip when I was in high school, and I've listened to all the episodes back and forth.
Right.
But like the funny thing is I would always like be on the lookout for callers, you know, that would like come on and say, hey, I need help like approach anxiety, or just kind of like, you know, talking to people randomly.
Yeah.
And no one really called in except for this one caller who I remember he said he was a hippie, he was 22 years old, and he just wanted to get out there, right? But he didn't know how.
Right.
And as soon as I heard of that caller, I was like, oh my God, finally. And then it was so funny because he called in like in the last 2 minutes of the very last Black Phillip episode.
Okay.
And and Patrice and you kind of helped him out, but it was very, very brief.
Right.
And I was like, but still, like Patrice's approach at the time was just go out there and just talk and expect rejection and keep going, right?
Yeah.
Which is, I guess that's advice, but it's nothing like the 5-brick system.
No. It doesn't. Honestly, I'm gonna tell you something. Patrice just didn't give a fuck. Like he had been. You know, he had been rejected. I mean, we be honest. Patrice was a big dude. He wasn't a model by no means. He wasn't, you know, traditionally good looking or anything. And so he had a lot of situations where he had a lot of rejection in the context of his life in general. And what ultimately happened was because of that, he had just gotten to the point where he got sick of it and he wanted to get out there. And so this was his approach. The problem with that is what you'll find over and over and over and over again is a guy will make an attempt and then they will fail, or they'll have a situation that will be perceived as a failure, right? And because it's a failure, right, they'll get their feelings hurt and then they'll never do it again. You know what I mean? Right. They'll get the girl to say, well, ew, you're weird or something, or they'll get embarrassed in some way, and then they'll never approach again, and then they go back in their shell. So my thought about this was, how can I get a guy, get his feet wet, right? And not and not put him in a situation where he risks some real rejection or even really bad, because a lot of times the rejection is not even what you think it is. It's perceived. The rejection is perceived as if it's tragic because you're so afraid of being embarrassed because of situations that they, you know, where they were embarrassed in the first place. You know, that they get that one, you know, situation where they, you know, end up getting their feelings hurt, and then they're back in the shell again, and they're like, I'm not gonna ever do that again. That's like the thing where, you know, you go to a high school dance and you finally get up enough nerve to you finally get a girl to ask a girl to dance, and then she goes, get away from me, and then you never do it again. And it's funny, when I had Punisher from the Diddy trial, and I mean, he was a male stripper, and he was the one that was getting paid by Diddy to have sex with Cassie. He was saying that he had a situation where his erectile dysfunction was a mental thing because of something that happened when he was a child. I don't know if you heard. If go check that episode out. But what he says is that his boy had gotten laid, was talking all this shit, and his boy went around the neighborhood, and basically the girl clowned him because he was, you know, didn't have a lot of, you know, sexual experience, and she dogged him and said how he had a little dick and stuff like that. And he remembered this at 15, 13, 14, 15 years old. This was stuck in his head that literally ate away him even in his life after that, you know? Like, as an adult, as a 40, 50-year-old man, it's still this kind of drama and this kind of trauma happens. And when that happens, I mean, so my thought was, and if you listen to the old stuff, you got to understand that Patrice didn't. Patrice was a good guy, but he wasn't a kind guy. Does that make sense?
Yeah, he had his own style. But Dante, just really quick, just to say something else really fast.
Yeah.
You know, in going back in those old episodes, right? With all the man school stuff that I've seen, right?
Yeah.
So I'm revisiting these old episodes, and there's actually a cool gem in there because Patrice mentioned like how you guys would sit around and talk about, you know, ways to get with a woman, right?
Yeah.
And I remember you said something along the lines of, yeah, I believe, you know, the only way to get true confidence is just be who you want to be, the best version of yourself. Right? And I was like, oh, so Dante already kind of had this in the back of his mind all the way in 2006.
Yeah.
And it's funny because Patrice, he heard you say that, and he laughed and he's like, see, that's the shit you trying to push. And then he kind of took over, right? and started laying out, you know, all the Black Phillip stuff. But it's funny because I was thinking to myself, like, Patrice, you know, sadly he's not around to be part of the man school stuff, right?
Yeah.
But it's cool to kind of see that little debate all the way even then of what his reaction would be, you know, to the 5 bricks and little stuff like that, which was a really neat, cool gem to see.
Yeah, well, I think you know, a lot of times there were things that I would say to Patrice that he wouldn't be on board with, where later on he was on board. I'm gonna give you a quick scenario. Patrice was difficult to work with. Not with me because I never employed him, but as a comic, as an actor. I mean, he was really, and he was actually on The Office, right? He had a major part.
Yeah, he was.
And when he actually was the main guy above Craig Robinson, right? And had he have stayed on, he probably would have been the main guy, right? But he left and basically said, well, I'm not doing this. This is Steve Carell's gig, right? Which is insane because as big as The Office was at the time, right? Mm-hmm. Later on, when he had made the deal for Elephant in the Room. Patrice did the deal for Elephant in the Room, and he got to the point where they gave him Elephant in the Room and another show, and he was supposed to do a show that never came out, right? And Patrice was the executive producer, and with that show, he had to interview people. He had to direct, help direct. He had to guide people, and there was a guy who was a really great actor, but he was a pain in the ass, right? Because he was a little arrogant, he was hard to work with, but he was clearly a better actor. And I remember him coming home and calling me, man, I've been working my butt off with this 16-hour shifts. And he goes, I realized something, that in order, like when you got to work with somebody for 16 hours at a time, you're better off working with somebody who's nice and less easy to get along with and less talented, right? Rather than working with somebody who is talented and hard to work with. Because when you're doing 16-hour shifts, it don't matter how brilliant you are, it just becomes you being a pain in the fucking neck. And I remember saying to him, because we had a lot of moments like this, and I was like, so out of everything that you've learned as a 40-year-old man, right, is that it pays to be nice? Like, it pays to not be a dickhead, that people want to work with you and they hang out with you more when you're not a dickhead. And he laughed, because that's what he would laugh loud and obnoxiously, and because it was just such an obvious thing to me that you get more bees with honey. But he was always so contrarian. And a lot of times for the sake of being contrarian. And I think he did that a lot of times because he was insecure, because he was afraid to be nice, because then he was afraid that he would get taken advantage of, if that makes sense.
Or get burned, yeah.
Yeah, and so it wasn't just being an asshole for the sake of being an asshole. It was being an asshole for the sake of protecting yourself from what real intimacy and real closeness, like and I think that I was ahead of him with that, because of the fact that I didn't really struggle to get women. I never really struggled to get women, and it was a lot of that, and I didn't really understand that then. But the reason why it wasn't because I was the best looking guy, or because I was this or that or the other. It was because I believed that I was worth it, that I was worthy of the time and the energy of women. And when I spoke to them, I treated them, and I treated myself with a level of dignity where there was no doubt that I thought that. You understand? And you really can't fake it. I don't know if you ever watched like online poker, or like live poker, like poker.
Like the poker tells. Yeah, I think I heard you talk about this before.
So everybody has the poker tells. It happens in every situation. And so if you're talking to a woman who is in your mind, you feel as though she's out of your league, or what I call you shoplifting the pussy, right? Big shout out to T.J. Miller, the comic from Transformer. He loves that term. But what happens is, it means you're in a game that you don't think you're worthy of being in the game, and because of that, it becomes evident really clearly with any woman who is super perceptive that you don't think that you deserve her company. And if you don't believe that you're competent and you're comfortable enough to be in her company, why would she believe it? Nobody knows you better than you, So it was really it was a situation. So that's why I kind of discourage listening to the Black Phillip, because there's so many concepts. There were some things that we got right. Like, yes, I was talking about being the best version of yourself, and I was talking about a lot of things, but it really hadn't crystallized. And I'm really proud of what Man School has become now, because I think that it is better for society in general, making strong, confident men who are not abusive, that are not being abusive, and creating women, turning women into monsters and gold diggers and these things, and not tolerating the bad behavior, and not and holding people accountable and holding themselves accountable. I mean, I really feel that this is the reason why the country is in the flux that it is because nobody is honest, nobody is authentic. Or should I say, politicians and people that run the country, they are inauthentic, they lack any credibility, and they have no empathy. Can you imagine if the politicians that control our country right now, what they would feel if they had real empathy about people losing their SNAP benefits, or losing their Medicaid or Medicare? It just wouldn't happen, because there would be a prior empathetic view on people that have less than us. And if we made promises that we weren't going to take people's Medicaid or take away people's, then they wouldn't do it, because they would be telling the truth. And all of this would go about with the whole, I mean, can you imagine if everybody in America were practice ACE? The whole world would be a better place. If people were honest, kept their word, and were empathetic to other people. But still help
Go ahead.
No, go ahead.
I would say that's what I remember you saying, that being honest and following ACE is what makes you a commodity in modern society. You right?
Yeah, because nobody else does. I mean, I would ask you this: And you said you're 23, right?
Yep.
How many dudes in your immediate circle, friends, family, or otherwise, that you can say that practice that? And I mean, not just
nobody.
not just one part of it, but all three principles.
I would have to do a deep dive.
And the fact that you have to do a deep dive is really the point. That's why practicing it makes you a social and sexual commodity, because you're.
But you know what?
Yeah.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
I was gonna say, but you know what? It's like, again, like it was just really cool listening, even only for a brief 3 minutes, of you and Patrice talking about an early concept of of the bricks, and then being truthful and being the best version.
Yeah.
Because I would wish that Patrice would be on this journey with you, right?
I mean, me
But
too.
it was just a really cool thing to see.
Yeah, me
Or
too.
here.
I mean, if I think that this platform would be way bigger. I think that, when you talk about the charlatans like Fresh and Fit and Myron and even Kevin Samuels and Andrew Tate and that stuff, because we were doing this before anybody else. And what they ultimately did was they took these concepts, because I don't know if you noticed, but all of those guys have talked about the Black Phillip Show in some way or another.
Yeah, they've quoted it.
Yeah. So, but the fact was they took it to another level, made millions of dollars, and then bastardized it in a way that that is is a problem. And it's like, even when you talk about Andrew Tate and these guys, and they talk about being a man and keeping your word and those things too. But here's a guy, both of those guys had a daddy, right, who was unavailable to them, right?
Right.
And so because he was unavailable, he came around once in a while. They respect him and they loved him and all of that. But you have fathers who have sexually assaulted their children, where the children still love them. And that is a whole dilemma in itself. But the point is that when you have a situation where you literally are dealing with people who didn't get the attention from the male figure in their life, they are going to be emotionally deficient. There's just no way around that. And if you don't acknowledge it, even as a man, it becomes a problem, And that was actually a problem because Patrice didn't have a male figure in his life, and didn't have a lot of intimacy. And even though he loved his mama to death, they weren't particularly emotional. There wasn't that kind of physical touch and hug and stuff. And so we have these situations because our childhoods are imperfect. And because they're imperfect, we end up growing into somebody, and we subconsciously, we have these things that stop us from being the best version of ourselves. So, I appreciate the walk down memory lane, man. I really do. But yeah, so it's dope, man. Thanks for calling in.
Yeah, no problem. I'm planning on booking a consultation with you soon, so be on the lookout.
All right, DanteNero.com. Click on consult if you want to book something. Thank you, bro. Appreciate you.
Have a good night, Dante.
Good night, bro. Let me open it. Yeah. So, it's funny because even when it comes to the 5 bricks, what I'm really talking about, it was my way of taking these concepts that were all over the place, and then crystallizing them into a usable actions that can help you to become more confident, more honest, more social, being able to talk to a woman when it's non-transactional, that every time you say, because women are so used to men talking to them in a way that, he's talking to me, he's trying to put it in me, and they're usually probably right, until they meet somebody who is really, who has practiced the 5 bricks, and their approach is different. What's your name? Where you calling from, family?
Howdy, Dante. This is Jay from Florida.
This is who?
Jay.
What up, Jay? What's going on? How can I help you, bro?
Chilling, man. It's so funny, really quick. I was just listening to an episode of Man School 202. Then I just so happened to want to rewind the video, and I saw that you were live, so I figured I'd just jump on really quick.
Okay.
But, so I do have a quick question, right?
Yeah.
So when you talk about taking up space in just your encounters, period, I was just wanting to know, could you elaborate on that a little bit?
Yeah, sure. How can I put this? Okay. You ever been in a club and somebody walks in and you don't know who it is, but you like, who's that dude? Like,
Right.
It could be a group of dudes, right? But you like, who's that dude? You'll also see that, you'll see that a lot, like if you see, I don't know if you've ever been in a club where like a rapper or like a famous rapper walks in or whatever, and there's just a confidence about him that he walks in. I've been in clubs where 50 Cent has walked in, you know what I mean, or Busta. It's
Right.
like an aura. It's a thing where, if that makes sense, where they're taking up space.
Right.
I'll give you there's a guy who who actually came on the show, used to work on, he was the white kid on Wild 'N Out. I believe his name is Jacob Williams, right? And
he used to wear glasses, right?
yeah, I
He's
don't
like the
know.
nerdy
He
kinda?
stopped wearing glasses, but I've actually done consultations with him. And one of the things about him, his dad was kind of mean and abusive, right?
Right. Mm-hmm.
And because and what it's kind of what made him funny on Wild 'N Out, because he was so sharp-witted, but he was so he was underpresented. You know what I mean? Like he would almost whisper the jokes, but the jokes would be so sharp-witted and so on point is what made him funny, right? So he was like a little nerdy kind of guy, but he was really funny. And the thing about it was his voice, the way he spoke, had a lot to do with the fact of how he was raised. So his father had alcoholism. His father was abusive a lot of times, and because he was abusive, a lot of times what would happen would be he would literally be in a situation where he was afraid to talk to his father because his father would yell and scream and fly off the handle, you know?
Right.
So what did that do to him? That taught him that, look, even when I think that there's something I should say, right? I'm afraid to say it. So he spoke in ways where he didn't want to be heard, you know? When his father would come home from work, he would kind of shrink, you know? He'd play off in the corner. And it's always interesting to me how these things affect us in our old age, the same thing that we were doing as children, because this is how we have coped with the trauma, you know?
Right.
And so his voice was very soft because he didn't want to get heard. His posture was always small. He kind of would shrink up a lot of times, right? Do you have the radio on in the background or the internet on in the background? Because I'm getting feedback.
No, I don't. I actually have my TV on mute, and there's no radio.
Okay, all right, cool. All right, no, whatever. So my point being, and so this was, as an adult, this was his demeanor. Now, how do you think that affect him when he's trying to talk to women?
Right.
So he's approaching the world in this situation where I'm talking, but I don't really want to be heard, you know? And then women perceive that as if you're weak, or you're, scared of them, or you're weird, or whatever however they perceive it. But whatever it is, they don't perceive it in a positive way. And so when you talk about taking up space, it shows in your posture. It shows in that you walk in with your head high. You walk in with your shoulders back. You walk in standing up straight. You're not. It's body posture. It's when you talk to somebody, instead of leaning over into them, right? Because you feel as though you're important, you stand back and project your voice to them.
Right.
And all of these things are deal with the subtext. When I talk about the subtext, is anytime you're communicating with a woman, there's a subtext of who you think you are. I've said this to guys and women, men and women alike. I say, if you are presenting yourself, like if any woman that you've ever met, and that's the same thing for any guy, any woman who's in the chat or is here, you present yourself in a way, and we're reading the subtext. So if you're not taking up space, then how does that look to the girl? It looks like, oh, he has no confidence. And why does he have no confidence? He has no confidence because he's not good enough. And if you don't think that you're good enough, why would she think so? Who knows you better than you know you?
Agreed, yes, sir.
A woman, how does a woman get to know you? You tell her.
Tell them, right.
You express it with her.
I always kind of understood. I was going to say, because like I said, I'm a pretty avid listener to Man School 202. I was literally listening to an older live before I saw you alive tonight, so I try to get in as much as I can. I always kind of understood when you mentioned subtext, like, I always kind of understood it as what you're communicating without vocalizing.
Exactly.
Like the little intricacies, yeah.
And understand this, if you look at any good books, I mean, there's some good books, any good book on body language, I mean, if you want to really get into it, the point is that anybody will tell you that the verbal part of communication is only 35%.
Right, okay.
Everything else is posture, tone, gestures, all of those things. It's just like, I'll give you an example. Like if you're in a bar, right, and there's a dude in the bar and he's a Billy Badass or whatever, his movements will be reckless. Be throwing, you know what I'm saying? We read that because and men know how to read that. The problem is we don't understand how we're projecting, you know? And understand that we are communicating even when we don't think that we're communicating. Okay?
I hear that. It's funny you mentioned books, Dante, because I actually just finished a book that I think you might even have behind you over there somewhere in your bookcase, White Rage.
Oh, yeah. Oof. Yeah, it's a goodie.
I just finished that book.
That's a great starter. That's a great starter. Yeah.
And I'm definitely taking more notes on based off what you have. I got a whole bunch of recommendations on across different websites from eBay, Barnes and Noble and stuff. But you've mentioned it on here or on Godfrey's pod, so that's definitely good. So I do have two more questions. One's a quick one. You mentioned the book as far as like body language. What would you recommend as far as like a book based on?
Let me see if I can the premiere. There's a real basic one that I referred to. I mean, I honestly, to be honest, anyone will do good, but let me see if I can Google real quick and see
I know you've mentioned a book called How to Get Anyone to Do Anything.
That one's a little different. That one is different. That's for something else. Okay. But you know what I'll do? Body language. Let me see. Yeah, I don't really want to recommend anyone that without checking it, but you know what I can do? I'll get it up, and then I'll next live we'll do Tuesday, and I'll be just listening on Tuesday, and I'll do it. Okay, I'll have the name of a good one. Okay.
Sounds good. I'll be tuning in. And then my very last question, right? And it actually concerns the 5 bricks, right? So I find it before you get to the point of asking me. I do the bricks regularly. I don't do 5 as much as I should. So obviously that's something I'm working on. But I will ask you this, right? So I work a retail job, right? And a lot of the times,
it doesn't matter. That doesn't count.
Oh, it doesn't? Okay, because I was gonna say a lot of the times, like you'll have a lot of women that come in there, and then I'll notice something maybe they're wearing, or like.
I mean, that's great. That's great practice, but I mean, the reason why you're doing The reason why you're doing it at work is because it's easier. Because it's almost something you should do. I mean, you got to be cordial and kind when you're doing retail. Ali J, I'm gonna recommend the book. I'm gonna be live on Tuesday, and I'll do some research and bring the book. My point is, making the effort to lay the 5 bricks, right? Going outside of yourself. That's like the difference in you working at a retail job and running back and forth, or maybe running back and forth to the stock room, and you actually going to a gym to work out. Yeah, you might get your 10,000 steps, but there's a difference in you picking that weight up and putting it down. It's just no substitution for it. Okay?
I get you. Yes, sir. I get you. And it's funny because I used to think that myself, as far as like, oh, okay, well, I know I got to be here on this day, so there's no way I'm gonna miss out. There's gonna be women galore. Like I could just, And
don't get me wrong, that's great practice, but you feel there's a real anxiety shift when you are out doing it for the sake of doing it, and you know that, right?
Right.
And
certainly.
And I
have laid the bricks. Not to cut you off, I was just going to say I have laid the bricks while being out and about, or at, say, like a gym, or like going to get something to eat. Yeah. And that dynamic where it's like you're basically going out of your way to let this woman you're complimenting, this woman know you're complimenting, let her know that you see her essentially.
Yeah, exactly. So, and if you're doing that at your job, this is what you got to do anyway. It's not the same.
Right. Okay.
And it actually is under the context of your job, and you know that. You honestly know that. So that's what the difference is. Okay.
Right. Yes, sir. I appreciate that.
All right, brother. Call. Make sure you call in on Tuesday, and I'll have a recommendation for you. Okay.
Sounds good, Dante. Thank you and Harry for what you guys laid out for all of us, man. You guys are helping us. And,
all right, brother. Appreciate you.
Yes, sir. Have a good night.
Night. Yeah, phone lines are up, y'all. 929-269-4922. Let me go through these. Is being in a relationship in this day and age overrated? Listen, it is not for me to decide what is overrated. It's for you to. That's not what I do. I don't judge what the situation. A relationship can be what you want it. Shonda's Kitchen asked me, let me just put this, he says, it being in a relationship this day overrated. It depends on you, on what you want out of life and how you perceive your life and what's going to make you happy. Who am I to tell you what your life is supposed to look like? This is what this show is about, is me teaching you stuff so that you can decide how you want your life to look, and understand that you can make it look any way you want to, okay? So I'm not gonna pass comments on that, but I mean, I give you an example. Andre D. Thompson, who was on the show early, and he's doing his own thing. He's been in a relationship forever, but he's got a really solid girl that's got his back, and he loves her and she loves him, and they're not disrespectful and they're supportive. And him just having one girl has made him way more productive in his endeavors, because he wasn't running around chasing skirts all the time. So there's that. So 808 Presley says, dog, I needed this RN. I'm about to cut off one of the girls I'm dating tonight, and I need a pep talk. So call in, Presley. I mean, look, I have to say this, if you're saying that you're gonna cut her off, if you're gonna cut her off, there must be reasons why you're doing that, and it must have gotten to the point where you you're so frustrated that you think that this is necessary, and it is what it is. So that is but I mean, you understand that the observations that you've made have to be, I have to assume that there's a reason why you're at this point, and it must have gotten frustrated to the point where things are, where things are unattainable, right? so that you're ready to make a change. So there's that. I have this. I got a quote from South KC on TikTok, and he says, "Do I feel bad about starting the Proud Boy?" I don't know if y'all know. I can tell you this. I don't really want to get into this as much, South KC, but what I would say is there's a podcast called This American Life. And the episode is called White Haze. I did a long interview on that, and absolutely. But I learned a lot from the whole Proud Boy thing, because my intention was to help guys who weren't getting laid and who felt disenfranchised, and I wanted to empower them in a way that they can feel better about themselves, because all of these problems, if all of that Proud Boy shit came out of fear and not getting laid and incels and stuff like that, and my intention was to help them, the problem was there was the racism involved and the fact that they cut out the empathy part of ACE, and so they cut the empathy part of it, and you really can't, when you're talking to people, if people want to omit parts of your philosophy and just take portions of it or cherry pick, there's nothing you can do about that. So there's that. So that's kind of how I feel about it. Let me see. So Presley, you got to do what you got to do, but I have to assume that you have gotten to this point, being thoughtful. You welcome South KC. Let me see. Cuidado Normal says, I've been doing that. What would be the next step of practice? You got to do a consultation, Cuidado. We don't know if you're ready to go to the next stage, and we have to. Part of the each step of the phase is that you need to be ready to go to the next phase. And I would guarantee, I would almost bet my life on the fact that there is something that you're missing, and there's things that you're missing. And I would want to evaluate where you're at with the laying the 5 bricks. I'd also, if you want to, you can call in and we can evaluate it live on air. But you got to talk to me before you go to the next phase. I guarantee there's been something that you missed, because it's just, it would be literally like you trying to teach yourself MMA. You know what I mean? You do need an instructor. There's things that you just learn. Dante, what compliment would you give Salma Hayek if you came across her? I would tell her, well, now look, let me explain something. I'm a little more advanced than you, so it wouldn't be non-sexual. It would absolutely be flirty and sexual. It just wouldn't be nasty, right? So I probably would comment on the way she moves. How she moves, how she glides, and how she moves. It's it's a very flattering thing when somebody looks at you, when a man is observing how you move, how she stands, and how she walks. Because believe it or not, that stuff is practice. Nobody gets when a woman is walking and she's throwing it, right? She's worked that out. She's worked that out in the mirror. So, Cold Boy, how old is the person I'm helping? The last one was 23 years old, but they range from a lot of different ages. Everybody's all different ages. Red pill men have men thinking the majority of women are trying to take advantage of men. Listen, you gotta stay off the internet. Understand something. Some of the most insecure women that I've ever seen are the prettiest models in the world. Number one, that they know that there's guys who are simps who are gassing them up, tell them that they don't have to have a personality and all of this stuff. And they know that guys are simply there because they're attractive. And a lot of them long to be noticed for something more than their looks. They want to be seen as deeper than just skin deep. It's funny. I was doing a consultation today, and I was talking about a guy, a friend of mine he's in pornography. You can Google him. His name is Motor Monster. Probably got like a 12-inch dick. Now every guy is like, oh, I wish I had a 12-inch dick. The interesting thing about that is that I interviewed him, and he actually kind of teared up during the interview because I asked him, was he in a relationship? And he was like, yeah, I don't know what I'm I don't know what I'm in. And even though he's, laying pipe in movies and stuff, but he doesn't have a real intimate connection. And the fact that he became like a prominent he became a prominent porn star is kind of became a stigma where women wouldn't take him seriously. And to be honest, nobody wants to take a 12-inch dick. I mean, I shouldn't say nobody because there's definitely size queens, but that ain't fun for no girl. If I'm wrong, we got girls in the chat. Please give me a thumb. Give me a comment in the chat and tell me nobody wants to get beat up and split open. So there's that. Let's see. This is Coldboy 757 says, Dante, you really helped me out to be more empathetic. Thank you. You're welcome, brother. How can I get that detached way of being with ladies, for the ones that I like? The point is that you gotta start out with being the best version of yourself. The reason why you are attached is because you're putting on too much emphasis on looks. Here's the scenario. Let's say you meet the hottest girl in the world, right? But when you go to the bathroom, she goes through your phone or she goes through your wallet. She gets your ID, your license, takes a picture of your license, and then she and wipes your whole bank account. Now, look, yes, I get it that this woman is attractive, but every woman, just because she's attractive, is not worthy of your attention. It is just as important the character that this woman has, just like anybody else. If you're in a relationship, and we've all been this, where somebody was so, including myself, where somebody was so selfish that they didn't care about my well-being and whether or not I was dead or alive if I couldn't do stuff for them, and a lot of them were attractive. It just didn't matter. It didn't matter to them, and they didn't deserve my time, my energy, or my health half the time. So the fact that we put this on, the fact that we put all of this emphasis on looks, and there's an old saying that for every bad chick that you look at, there's a guy who's trying not to be around her. So keep that in mind. Let's see. Going down the list. The phone lines are open, y'all. 929-269-4922. I'm getting ready. I'm not going to go all night today. So if y'all got something to talk about, get it in. Glad caller respects what Man School has become. Yeah, thank you, bro. Appreciate it. 808, thank you for the $10. 808 Presley, you're the best. Says, what's good? It's time. What's a good time frame for dating multiple women casually versus not casually? How long should you be dating casually before making a decision to either lock in with the girl or cut off and move on? Here's the thing. There's no set time. The real point of Man School is for you to be the master of your fate, for you to decide what you want to do, what you don't want to do. There's no time. I mean, but you have to also respect that this, you got to understand that a woman has an option too, and that if she's looking for something more serious, and she's determined to have something more serious, there's always a good chance that she'll leave because of it. You got to do what you feel is best. And as long as you're being honest about what your intentions are, then she gets an opportunity to make the decisions that are according to her, that's best for her, and you you get to make the decisions that are best for you. And as long as that happens, we're doing okay. Don't forget the Cash App, yo. Cash App, send me some money. Shout out to Supernova Nexus. What's going on? Let me see. Trisha V in the building. This guy really studied, but and why should we? It's capitalism. I'm not sure. Well, nobody trusts each other. And why should we? Well, we don't trust each other because people are not trustworthy. But I'm telling you that all of that is falling apart because this is why the country is falling to pieces. Because nobody is authentic. Nobody is, or very few people are authentic, or very few people keep their word, and very few people are empathetic to what's going on. It's just, it is what it is. Let's see. Also, having worthy father frame is what builds. Yes, it does. Also, having a worthy father figure is awesome. Hey, Jody, what's up, sweetie? How you doing? It's good to hear from you. I hope you're doing well. Worked hard in destroying this structure. Do you really read these books? Yes. I read all the books. I'm constantly reading books. You see, that's my library. I stopped buying fur coats and started buying hardcover books because they're more valuable. I also don't know if those books are ever gonna be available in the future. I'm not how should I put? I'm not confident in that the suppression of knowledge will not come. It's already. Hey, Trixie, what's up, sweetie? For instance, most people I know in long-term relationships have never picked up a book about body. Absolutely. I mean, I honestly, to be very honest, I believe that there is a dumbing down of America, that people are stupid. They want to stay stupid, and they don't mind staying stupid. Big shout to, thank you, Black Pepper on TikTok. Thank you for, I'm trying, baby. You can check me out on if you can, subscribe to me on YouTube. It's Man School 202, and my channel is also Dante Nero. So you can get that too, and you'll get notified and stuff. I'm working on my stream key so that I can go live right through the cameras that everybody's seeing through TikTok. So, but I'm working on that now. What did I say? Yeah, big shout out to Trixie. Don't worry about it, Trixie. We gonna be back on the grind no more, so don't worry. Whatever you didn't miss, you can always call in and ask me. Shaboing Shabooms was popping. The Great and Power Xavier. What's up, Xavier? Thanks for the $10 too. Yeah, I think these young dudes don't go out and interact much. Of course, that's the problem. Let's see if there's anything else here. Sometimes I forget that this show really covers first steps, like baby steps. Yeah, you got to understand that the Land of Five Bricks, there's a reason why it is so undemanding. It's undemanding and it's simple because I don't want you to be discouraged. I know how I am. If I'm in a situation where I'm doing something and I'm discouraged because it's too complicated, it's like, everybody here at some point in time has played a video game. You ever play a video game that's so hard that you don't even play? The reason why video games are easy on the first steps and then they progressively get more complicated, it is so that you feel a sense of accomplishment and you don't go, this is too hard, I'm frustrated, and it just makes me feel bad. So let me see what else we got here. Selective empathy, yes, good point. Oh, there's a whole conversation going on. What up, Anthony? What's popping? You us the time since you weren't live last Tuesday. Yeah, I'm sorry, I was in LA, Trixie. I appreciate it, but I got a lot of stuff going on, but I'm really gonna make an effort to try and go live at least twice a week, and if I can, I'm gonna start going 3 times a week. I won't be live on Thursday. We will be live on Tuesday, because Thursday I'm gonna be performing, and I got a little both ends. I'm you know, hitting the candle, burning the candle from both ends. Let's see, we got a call coming in. What's your name? What's your name? Where you calling from?
Jose calling from California.
What's up, Jose? How are you, brother? How can I help you?
Well, it's kind of unorthodox. I got my 5 in, and I can't break the trauma bond still.
Wait.
I got the empathy, and
When you say you got your 5 in, what do you mean?
I got my 5, you know, it takes 5 to get over her. I got it, and I still can't get over it.
Okay, but how do you feel?
A little bit better. It was, you know, monkey, and it's just tough because she monkey branched, downgraded, and I got my 5, and it still hurts, and I'm still trauma bonded, and I don't know what to do.
Okay, let me ask you this. Did you break up with her, or did she break up with you?
She left me. She's done it a lot of times because I should have realized she wanted a monogamous life, and I told her day one what I was, and so many crash outs. And the second I had to move out of state, she found some guy, and I wasn't going to move that long. She just monkey branched to him within a month.
Okay, but
and I didn't. I was going from
Okay, but here's what I'm saying. So you had a situation where you were honest about what your situation, that you didn't want, you didn't want a monogamous relationship, right?
Correct.
And she made it clear that that was the case, right?
She's like, okay, I'm going to accept it. Like, when I met her, she was going through a separation. She said she's open to poly, and for 5 years, it was a crazy adventure, but every couple of weeks, like 2 years into it, she would leave. And then she'd boomerang back.
Okay,
and
but you have to understand
that I just didn't.
You have to understand something, right? Everybody's not for you, right? And
yes.
I know that well, first of all, you're right. You've kind of pair bonded to her because of whatever, and the fact that you guys broke up and you got back, and you broke up and you got back, and then you ultimately got into a situation where you thought that it was going to work out, right?
Yeah, and because she always said
because she kept coming back, right?
Yeah, and I would just take her back.
Well, here,
she would leave me.
But you got to understand this. You knew she was unhappy with this, right?
I thought that maybe she was just inexperienced, and that if I just gave her enough reassurance, because she always demanded reassurance, and she was always moving the goalposts.
Okay. You knew, I'm going to ask you the question again. You knew that she was unhappy with this, right?
I started to suspect.
Huh?
And I wish I just gave him
No. Hold on, let's back up. And I'm not going to beat you up, but I want you to be honest. This is your authenticity. You knew she was unhappy with a non-monogamous relationship. She made it clear that she wanted a monogamous relationship, right?
Yeah.
So my question to you is, where was your empathy when you knew that this is what she wanted, but you didn't let her go?
I had it, and then she kept coming back. I would leave, and I would start to heal.
I understand what you're saying, but why do you think she kept coming back?
Because she was bonded.
Because she cared about you. Because she cared about you, and she didn't want to leave, and she was trying to make it work. But you knew she was uncomfortable with this, right?
Yeah, and now she flaunts him. She flaunts him now.
Yeah, because she's hurt. What do you think? I mean, she's hurt by the fact. I mean, you got to just chuck that up. But the point is, we have to be accountable for the stuff that we do. It's you knew that she didn't want this. You stuck to your guns, which I'm proud of you that you stuck to your guns, right?
I wish I didn't. I wish I just gave her monogamy. And
yeah, but that's not what you want, right?
No, I don't. But
okay,
you're right, I don't.
So how do you think that was going to turn out? That all of a sudden you give her monogamy and you're still thinking about dipping your wick in somebody else?
You're right. Eventually, I would have. I'm too good at what I do.
Okay,
I just didn't know that.
And what do you think was going to happen to her when you went behind her back and did it
she
anyway.
would get upset. Yeah, she would get upset.
Okay,
And just like
or
she got
what
upset
would
when I
happen
tell
if-
her I'm going out.
Or what would happen if you promised monogamy and then you didn't hold up to it, and then she was gonna, and then you made the promise, and then after you made the promise you ended up in a situation where you broke her heart because the bottom line is she wanted somebody who wanted her, and she wasn't mature enough, and I'm not saying that she has to be. I'm not saying that this is necessarily a maturity issue. It's just you're different people, dog. And you want different things. And
I mean, there were other
what?
There were other issues, but that's mainly it. Like, she wanted to control my time, and because she wanted to know where I was all the time, just little things like that.
Because
But
she was
mainly,
afraid that you were going to put your dick in somebody.
but I tell her, we had group chats, I set up schedules, and you're right, it wasn't for her, and I want to give her monogamy, but she won't talk to me, and it's been like over 90 days.
You don't want to give
And
her monogamy. You want to give her monogamy because it's what she wants, and you're hurting. And so even in the context of this, you're being selfish.
You're right.
You're trying
I just tell
to
myself I would read the book.
You're trying to relieve the pain of something, and ultimately, what's going to happen on the back end anyway? Even if you give her monogamy, what are you going to do?
I'll probably crash out, and she'd probably crash out over something else.
Exactly. So I understand that this is difficult, and I'm not demeaning the fact that you're in pain with this, but what I'm saying is it's the best situation for the both of you. You can't. You ever hear somebody, man, that girl would be hot and she would be dope if she had a different personality, a different body. Big shout out. Thanks, Mac, for the $5, brother, on the Cash App. Thank you so much. My point is this is not what you want.
But now I do, but only
No,
for
you
her.
don't. You don't want it because you haven't changed as a person. What you want is you want her to be somebody that she's not. Just like she wants you to be somebody that you're not. Do you understand that?
Yeah, it's like.
And what is going to happen if you try to be somebody that you're not?
I'd probably resent her. I just wanted to have the conversation with her.
You fucked that already. And you probably will speak to her another time. But understand something. There's nothing wrong with you wanting not to be monogamous or to be polyamorous or whatever. You can do that. But the point is, you can't do that with everybody you want. And if you change what if you really have decided that this is who you are and you're really honest about who you are, you don't get to change. You gotta find somebody who is who you like you like her, who's also down with that program.
You're right. It was 5 years and so many adventures, and I just wish I was normal for her.
So is everybody else's relationship that's ended up in divorce. Everybody, we attach people. Understand something. Life is about the process. It's not about the end degree. It's not about the finish line. It's about love and life is like music, right? Just because a song is going to end doesn't mean we don't play the song. You understand?
Correct.
It's about the experience from the beginning to end, the highs, the lows, the spaces between the notes, the chorus, the break, and everything between it. You got an amazing time to be with somebody who you thought was amazing, that made you happy, and it ran its course and it's over with. Go find somebody else.
You're right. Okay.
And it's gonna. Don't get me wrong. I'm not belittling it like it's not gonna be painful, but I'm getting. What do you? I mean, if you really care about this girl, and you know she doesn't want to be what you want her to be, don't do it.
I would be what she wants me to be.
No, you
want
wouldn't.
to learn.
You would be what she wanted to be for a period of time, and then you wouldn't.
If I gave her monogamy, would that make her happy?
No, because you wouldn't be happy, and then you'd resent her.
It just sucks because now she just mirrors me and flaunts him.
This has nothing to do with him.
Like this.
And it may have something to do with him. My point is, These are the decisions that you made when you had her, and you took it for granted, and you didn't have the empathy. You honestly should have cut her loose earlier. When you knew she wasn't down for this, you should have cut her loose. Then if she had come back on it, if you had said, listen, this situation, I can see that this is not a situation that you want. So I think it's best that we go our separate ways. What you're upset about is that you're ego tripping because she left you, and then she found somebody else to replace you, and now she's flaunting it on you because her feelings are hurt. Why? Because she's put up with you, and I'm not saying to put up that you're wrong. I'm just saying she's put up with you and your nonsense and I shouldn't say your nonsense because it's not your nonsense, but she's put up with the situation that she wasn't comfortable with in the very beginning. And now we're in a situation where you end up getting the short end of the stick, but you've been giving her the short end of the stick because you knew she didn't want this in the first place.
I didn't realize that at first. She said she was so open-minded.
Yeah, and then she showed you that she wasn't. How many times did y'all break up in 5 years?
At least 4 or 5. She'll leave. She'll get upset. She'll leave, block me, and then unblock me.
Okay, so why do you think she blocked you? John, why did she block you? Because her feelings were hurt. Because she wasn't happy, and she couldn't find anybody sufficient enough to take your place. And then when she did, she left.
She just found some guy who had a dry spell, she said, and got cheated on. I'm like, that's who you want?
Look, stop. I'm not even gonna let you trip like that. Now you want to judge this dude.
I try not to, but yeah.
No, but you are. You're absolutely judging this dude, and you're not trying not to. What the problem is that you're hurt, but in the process of you having this emotional fit, you're not looking at what the situation. You and her were not compatible.
You're right, we weren't.
And so you can't fit that square peg in that round hole. I don't care what you do. You can't do it for her, and she can't do it for you. And so at some point in time, you got to be honest about yourself. This doesn't work. Time to move on.
You're right.
And what you should have done was had the empathy to know that she's younger and she wasn't ready for this, and you should have let her go. This way, if she came back on her own and you sent her away and she came back, then she has to come back with the intention of saying, listen, I know you did. I know I let you go and you want to come back. I want you to understand nothing is going to change. And if you're looking for this to change, then we should stay broken up. Then when she comes back, she's coming back knowing that she has to be accountable for the decision. What you did was you let her leave and let her come back. You let her leave and you come back. First of all, the fact that she left, why'd you keep letting her come back? You know why? Because you were selfish and you liked her and you cared about her and you wanted her back. But you didn't care about her enough to change who you were. Nor am I saying that you should change who you are.
You're right. I listen to the words, not the actions. Of like, I accept you.
You
lifestyle.
You had the upper hand, and you took advantage. But that's not even the point. The point is that you have two people who don't fit. And that's not going to change whether she's with this guy, whether she breaks up with this guy and comes back to you, whether you try to be monogamous and then fuck her over later. No, stop, dog, stop. You got to be an adult. And you're ego tripping.
Right. You're right. She left so many times, and she'd come back. And there were other non-poly issues of why she would leave, and I should have known that was a red flag, too.
You're not with her because you shouldn't be with her. Understand that. Okay?
Okay.
Get out there, lay the 5 bricks, get it popping, and find somebody who's right for you.
I did, and I can't get over it.
No, you did, and you will again. Okay?
Okay.
Stop ego tripping, bro.
do you think she'll actually have the conversation?
It
with me down
doesn't
the road?
matter. You shouldn't even be trying to have a conversation with her. What you know about
right.
this is what you know about this. Do you think you have what could you possibly let's do this experiment. What could you possibly think that you could say to her that would make this different?
Tell her that we can be monogamous.
Yeah,
I
and
want
you'd be
give you
lying
monogamy.
to her. You'd be lying to her. Right?
Because I've known people that went back to monogamy.
I
They said
I
they were
don't
happy.
give a shit about the people you know. We're talking about you.
Okay. You're right. It wouldn't work because it would be something else down the road. You're
Okay,
right.
and I understand there's pain that comes with that when people find out that they're not a good fit.
You're right.
But none of this changes any of it. The fact that you're not a good fit.
You're
And
right.
it's only
I just
even if
wanted
you
to
go
have that
back, even if she comes back, it's only a matter of time till this blows up in your face again. And then it'll be worse. It'll be worse because of the fact it'll be worse. The relationship will be worse because of the fact that then you have no credibility. Because you said that you were gonna do something and you didn't do it.
You're right. And I lost.
And then you give her a place to hate you. At least if you leave with some kind of dignity and kind of respect, and you leave her alone, and she comes back and says, "Hey, I miss you," or whatever. Even then you can't just let it go. You gotta you can't just go, "I'm gonna just put it aside." Even if you ever get back with her again, there has to be things in place that she understands what she's signing up for. Why do I say never let your emotions have a seat at the table? Because when you do, you make dumb decisions, right?
You're right.
And so now you're not a monogamous dude, and you're ready to be a monogamous dude. What? Because you got a little heartbreak? You're still gonna be the dude that you are. Okay?
You're right. Okay.
And you probably you say you did your 5 and you still got pain. Yeah, because you was already doing 5.
Yeah, I know. It's
So it's not just 5. What you're talking about, it's not you just sleeping with other people. It's because you have escalated this in a way that is where the normal rule is 5 pussies away. Why? Because you're only fucking 1. Not when you're already fucking. How many chicks have you got on the roster already?
at least 2.
Okay, so you got 2 chicks you're sleeping with, and now why would 5 work for you when you already had 2 on the roster?
I know it's unorthodox, and that's why I called you. I don't have any other sources to talk to.
I get it, but you got to understand something. What's unorthodox is the way that you want to live, and because you want to live like that, which is you understand that I'm not judging you, right?
I know you're not. I'm judging you for not.
Yeah, but this is all hard, dude. But you still gonna be the guy that you're gonna be. That's not gonna change.
It's not gonna change. It's not gonna change.
if you suppress that and you make moves to be something that you're not, what don't come out in the wash comes out in the rinse. She was younger than you, yes?
No, she's older than me.
Oh, she's older than
you. And
you.
I was her first after a long marriage. I was her first boyfriend.
Dog,
Never dated.
So look, she's a child, dog, when it comes to relationships. And she may never be polyamorous. Never. So if she's older and she had and she was used to having one person and how you think that's gonna work? It don't even make no sense. Does it make sense to you?
No, it doesn't now. It did at the time I was younger, and I believed the word. She's all, "Let's do this," and it was just. You're right. She pushed away our other partners. She caused a wedge. Now, a bunch of women are angry at me because I chose her out of everything.
Yeah, you gotta understand you are who you are, right?
Yes.
Trixie says,
right.
It hurts now. Give it a few months. You'll be fine.
Yeah, it's been over 90 days, and sometimes it's good, and then sometimes like I get upset. Like I wish I was not.
You had 5 years
for
doing
her.
this. It's not going to be, you may not be able to shake it in 90 days. I bet you didn't stop fucking, did you?
I lost my libido in between. Like I lost my libido.
Jay, when's the last time you had sex?
It's been months because I had to fly out of state for my son.
Okay. Has it been 90 days since you had sex?
Yeah.
You haven't had sex in 90 days.
Yeah, correct.
You haven't slept with anybody in 90 days.
No, yeah, correct. I'm a single dad. I'm doing it all on my own in a different state. I haven't had the time.
Okay, it's not having this time is not the same thing. Have you intentionally not had sex with anybody because you were so heartbroken? I already know the answer. No, you have not.
No, I've been trying.
Okay, so this is it ain't that. You
I don't know what it is.
Sometimes people just don't fit, bro. That's just the way it is. That's what life is. Okay?
I know, and I wanted to just be cordial and reconcile somehow.
That's
a lot
not
of
your
people,
choice. That's not your choice. You
You're
don't
right,
get
it's
to
her
do
choice.
that.
You're right, it's
You
her
don't get
choice.
to. You don't get to do what you do, and then her feelings are hurt. She's gonna be hurt until she's not hurt, and she may never be okay with it. But there may be a time when she's ready to talk. When she's ready to talk, just be ready to talk. If you really care about her like that, then have the conversation. But you don't get to decide when her feelings are not hurt anymore. You know?
I know. You're right. It hurts because the smearing and the yelling and just the smearing, and she's just like.
You heard her, and you knew
I know I did.
that she didn't want this, and she left because she didn't want it, and you, because of the fact that she didn't have the strength to leave, she stuck it out. And now this is what your hand wrote. This is what the bed that you made. And I'm not judging it. I'm just saying, dog, you like, she gets to be mad.
I know she does.
Just like you get to go fuck 2 or 3 chicks at a time if you want.
It's,
Okay.
I think about her when I do.
And trust me, it'll pass and you'll have a conversation. Maybe not now,
Thank you.
maybe not for years, but it'll happen. But
You're right. Every other woman that it will end up worse, there's always been a conversation. You're right.
Yeah, I mean, you're tripping because you're emotional right now, you know?
I'm very emotional. And I thought after 90 days I'd be less emotional.
Like, you got to understand that you're going to be who you're going to be. There's a reason why you're polyamorous, right?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Okay,
it's a
and
wonderful
that
lifestyle.
wasn't a frivolous decision, right? I mean, you
No,
had to know that. You have to know when you say that's what you're going to be, there's women that are just not going to put up with it.
I know, and normally they leave very quickly. She didn't.
Don't say it. She said she was fine with it. I know that. And then she said she wasn't. Even if she was fine with it, and she decides that she is not fine with it anymore, then she gets to say, I don't want to do it no more.
Yes, absolutely.
And if you really are practicing ACE, you get that.
Yes, I do. It's just the sneering and that it was. You're right. I do have empathy. I do have empathy.
Yeah, but you're in your feelings, and now you're ready to do anything for something that you're not going to be able to. You're not going to have the credibility to stick it out the way you're trying to say you want to stick it out anyway. Don't do that to yourself, and don't do that to her. If you really care about her, don't do that to her. Okay?
Okay.
All right, brother. I appreciate you calling in, man.
All right,
Thanks for being
thank
open
you.
and
I appreciate
honest, too. All right?
Thank you. All right. Thank you. Have a good day.
All right, brother. Send me some money, goddammit. Give me some money. I'm going to go through these last comments. I appreciate you for the advice, even though I didn't get it right. Setting on the path that seems open, past just talking to women, but the social life in general. What happened is the power to marry change. He had all the power. Okay, he did just commenting on this. This whole time, I had a reason to believe that me doing it at work doesn't hold the same weight. It doesn't make for a great practice at all. Yes, it does. You're right. Yeah, and you kind of knew that. that laying the 5 bricks at work is bullshit. Why play the games? Sometimes you need don't know. You don't know what you got until you go on. Yeah, but the other thing is that he's grown enough to know that he's polyamorous and this is the lifestyle that he chooses. So whether or not he loses this or not, he's still gonna be who he is. And it's sometimes it's uncomfortable because we are who we are, and but you got to still be true to who you are. And then there's billions of people in this world, and somebody who won't mind and wants to rock like that, you know. So he trying to pull that reflection of the past out of the water, but it's shit. Y'all in people's ass, goddamn. That's his promise, but we live in between that. Absolutely. My homeowner's in the same problem. It's true, Dante, standing right in this, and I respect what he has to say to this kid right now. Yeah, I mean, it is what it is. I'm not going to front. I practice ace too, because if I stop practicing ace, I lose my confidence. How you doing, everyone? 5:30 here. Imagine my surprise to wake up and find the stream is going. Guess I don't need to go back to bed. I hate this phase of relationship aftermath he's in. That fresh rejection, and it happens, bro. It happens. It's always gonna happen. Yeah, Trixie, you're right. It's not always easy to handle what they dish out. Just learn from this. Your feelings are hurt, and what happens, remember it for the future. Yes, sir. All right, y'all, we've been up an hour and 30 seconds. JR said I asked before, but Dante, do you find it hard keeping people in your life? Yes. Anybody who doesn't practice ace, I get rid of them. I am presently cutting friends off. In fact, I cut a friend off on Friday for the same situation. Somebody who just was really disrespectful to me. Had kind of a drinking and a drug problem, and he jumped out the window on me. Then he called me up to apologize, and then after he apologized, he basically was like, you know, because this is a thing when you do the 12-step program, you're supposed to make amends to the people that you know, that you've hurt. But what happens is you're supposed to they're supposed to accept it, and when somebody is selfish and in their own head, they expect you to accept their apology even when they don't really mean the apology. So whatever, eat a dick. Ace means authenticity, credibility, and empathy. Always tell the truth, always keep your word, and always know that other people are going through things that you haven't gone through before. All right, y'all, we're going to shut this down. Please hit me send me some money, goddammit. Goddamn, shit was scarce as fuck. Thank you so much for TikTok. All the people on TikTok watching live as well. And don't forget to like and subscribe on the YouTube page, please, if you fuck with YouTube. I'm going live on Tuesday and Sundays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays. If y'all want to fuck with me, please fuck with me. No, Rock Johnson, you already know the answer. And this is let me answer this real quick. When laying the 5 bricks in the same location frequently, is it okay to compliment the same women? You already know you're not supposed to do that. So don't ask me no dumb shit. You know, stop trying to cop a plea. It's supposed to be a strange woman every day. That's the whole point. That's how you get past it, by talking to somebody that you've never talked to. That's the only way you get comfortable talking to strange women, is by talking to strange women. Okay?
What's wrong? What the heck? What is it? Oh, what happened to my guy? Oh shit. I did my voice. Fuck me. Hello?
Hold on. All right, hello. There it is. Fuck was I doing? There it is. Sorry about that. A little sound effects going on. Yo, thank you so much. GYBB, get your balls back. WWDD, what would Dante do? Don't forget, please, the consultations, one-on-one consultations. Where the fuck is my thing at? first, check out the Patreon. The Patreon is the best way to support the show so I can keep doing this. Patreon.com/manschool202. All the bonus technique and different content we put up every week. Don't forget the one-on-one consultations at DanteNero.com/ just click on consult. Don't forget the Cash App. You know what it is. It's at $ Dante Nero. Y'all, love y'all, man. Peace. We out of here. Peace.